the CEO returned home after secretly meeting his first love. He found that his wife and 2 children were no longer there. When he caught sight of the divorce papers, he finally realized that his wife had completely left him, and it was all because of his own doing. For years, the woman had worked as the company's assistant, using her exceptional abilities to secure multiple key projects. She had deeply loved the CEO, staying by his side without wavering, even though she knew he always had his first love in his heart. Yet, she never chose to leave. 6 years ago, they unexpectedly became intimate. After she became pregnant, their secret marriage followed. Later, she gave birth to a pair of twins for the CEO. However, he always believed that she had ulterior motives for approaching him. Because of this, he remained indifferent to her, even forbidding the children from calling him dad. That day happened to be the children's birthday. They eagerly awaited their father's return, as he had promised the day before to come home and celebrate with them. But as the night deepened, he never showed up. Exhausted, the children asked their mother if daddy was too busy to come home. Suppressing her disappointment, she softly comforted them, smiling as she helped them make wishes and fall asleep. Once the children were asleep, her last bit of hope shattered. The next morning, she carefully asked the children, "If mommy takes you away, would you be willing to go?" Her daughter hesitated and said that uncle had not yet agreed to let her call him daddy. Her son also said he was willing to give uncle 3 more chances. Hearing this, she ultimately agreed to the proposal. She silently vowed in her heart, if, after these 3 chances, the CEO still remained indifferent, she would resolutely take the children and leave for good. The next day, she went to the company and printed her resignation letter. Just then, the CEO suddenly arrived with his first love. Seeing their intimate interaction made her heart ache. She tried her best to suppress her emotions. Then, she handed the resignation letter to the CEO and asked him to sign it. Since his first love was urging him impatiently, the CEO signed the document without reading it. After signing, he handed it back to her, then embraced his first love and left. Watching this scene, she felt an indescribable pain in her heart. Not long after, the children came to the company after school. Excitedly, they told their mother that the school was hosting a parent-teacher meeting tomorrow. They hoped daddy would attend. Not wanting to disappoint them, she sent the CEO a message. She expected him to coldly refuse. Unexpectedly, he replied that he was available. This both surprised and delighted her. The children were also unusually happy. The next morning, she still did not see the CEO return. On social media, she discovered that he was accompanying his first love's daughter. Realizing he had broken his promise again, she took the children to school. To her astonishment, the CEO was already there, waiting. Her daughter excitedly called out, "Daddy." She mistakenly thought that the toy airplane was a gift from him. Suddenly, another little girl snatched the toy away and called the CEO daddy. At that moment, she realized that the girl was his first love's daughter. So, the CEO was actually there for her. This deeply disappointed the twins. They mistakenly believed that their father no longer loved them. After all, his first love's daughter could call him daddy, while they were only allowed to call him uncle. When the meeting ended, the CEO suddenly took out a lollipop and asked his son to give up his position as class president to his first love's daughter. Although angry, the boy ultimately agreed. Just then, the CEO's first love called, saying her daughter had a stomachache. The CEO had no choice but to tell his wife to take the children home by taxi, while he drove off to pick up his first love. Little did he know, he had just lost his last chance. The woman decided to leave with the children. When the CEO returned home, she handed him the divorce papers and asked him to sign. At that moment, he received another call from his first love. Without reading the documents carefully, he hastily signed them. Immediately after, he mentioned that his first love would be staying at their home for a few days, and told the woman to take the children to a hotel. Before they left, the CEO gave the cake he originally bought for his first love's daughter to the twins. The children happily thought their father was making up for missing their birthday. The woman discovered that the cake contained mangoes. Furious, she questioned the CEO. "Don't you know that both of your children are allergic to mangoes?" Hearing the CEO say he did not know, the woman took the 2 children and left. Before leaving, she told the CEO that there was a document in the bedroom that he needed to sign. After saying that, the woman took the 2 children and left the city. At that moment, the CEO knew nothing. When he heard his assistant say that there was a document he needed to return to the company to sign, he realized that his private secretary had already resigned. Thinking back to a few days earlier, when the woman had asked him to sign a document, he had signed it without carefully reading the contents. Only now did he realize it was a resignation application. When he called the woman, he found that no one answered. Remembering that the woman had said she had left a document in the bedroom, he immediately went to check. Unexpectedly, it was a divorce agreement. He could not believe it at once. After all, the woman had loved him so much before. He ordered his assistant to look into the woman's whereabouts, but no record of her leaving the country could be found. Little did he know, the woman had already arrived in another city. She planned to live there with the children. Then the assistant handed the CEO an invitation. It was for a banquet hosted by a business partner. He specifically reminded him to bring Secretary Sue. In the past, whenever the woman negotiated deals for the CEO. She often brought the two children along. They did not disturb her work. When they were tired, they would sleep on the sofa. Hearing this, the CEO was somewhat unconvinced. He had always thought the two children were very noisy. In fact, he had never truly cared for or loved the children. That night, the CEO attended the banquet with his first love. When the business partner's boss saw the first love, he mistook her for the CEO's private secretary. He praised Secretary Sue for being beautiful and for having strong work skills. The CEO hurriedly introduced her as his friend. Although the business partner had made a mistake, he still kept praising Secretary Sue, even saying that the person he most wanted to see tonight was Secretary Sue. The CEO claimed that Secretary Sue could not come because of a family emergency. Then, while they were discussing business, the first love and his daughter waited nearby. To please the CEO, she brought a piece of cake over to feed him. Interrupting his work, the CEO said he was working now and could not be disturbed. After hearing that, the first love immediately walked away in displeasure. Seeing this, the business partner smiled, knowing that the first love was the CEO's girlfriend. After signing the cooperation agreement, the business partner planned to invite Secretary Sue to work at his company. If possible, he was willing to give up 10% of the profits on the project. That was $5 million. The CEO was stunned. He had not expected the woman to be so sought after. The business partner said that if the woman joined his company, she could help the company earn $5 million in 6 months. That was why he was willing to give up 10%. Hearing this, the CEO became even less willing to let the woman leave. The business partner felt very disappointed when he heard others discussing that the first love he had brought was nowhere near Secretary Sue. He instantly became furious, but after calming down, he opened his phone again and sent the woman a message, asking whether she had finished venting her anger, but there was still no reply. Suddenly, he heard crying from not far away. The first love also rushed over to help her daughter up. Seeing the little girl on the ground calling for daddy, the CEO remembered that he had always forbidden his two children to call him daddy. They were only allowed to call him uncle. He walked over and helped the little girl up, asking where her father was. The next second, the business partner he had just been negotiating with hurried over. He was the little girl's father. After learning that his daughter had been wronged, he loudly asked what had happened.